I am now going to talk about K-drama Liberation, My Liberation Notes, episode 5 and 6. And I think that I have super enjoyed all of this series. It's already completed in terms of it's still on Netflix. It's still showing up as new, but it's kind of ended, and it ended on a great note. So it just hindsight 2020, I highly recommend this drama. It's probably my favorite one for the year 2022. And Lee Min-gi is in it, Kim Ji-won is in it, and then Son Seok-gu is also in it. And he did so well in this Korean drama. Like, he had TikTok wild. Everybody was kind of chatting him up. They were really promoting the fact that he just had such a screen presence, and he really didn't even talk for most of the first 4 episodes. So that's a really long time for an actor in any series to not talk. So I just really enjoyed Son Seok-gu as Mr. Gu in this K-drama. I really thought that he had a great air of mystery about him, and then just so amazing in terms of what he was able to portray without even having to say a word, because he just had that strong of a presence. And I just felt like he really did a lot to gain popularity for this K-drama. I think he made this K-drama what it is, because certainly, it wasn't fantastical or sci-fi or really, really different type of K-drama where they put a lot of money into the CGI or anything like that. So this was all 100% just great acting, great chemistry between all of the lead actors, and it was a nice ensemble cast. And I just felt like the storyline was different than your usual rom-com for me. And Son Seok-gu, or Mr. Gu, the kind of strong, silent character, he really made this K-drama for me happen. And I felt like that was part of the reason why I just liked this drama so much. And also, we had Mi-jung, which is Lee, her name is Ji-won. She was so good as the introverted, kind of like office worker who was a temporary worker. And they're at the bottom of the run. They just are so neglected as workers in Korea because it's a tiered system. If you are just a temporary worker, you're just not given the same accolades or recognition. You're really treated like a second-class citizen. And I don't even know if that terminology is used anymore, but definitely that's what I felt. And she kept being called into the office with 2 of her coworkers. All 3 of them did not want to join a club. They did not want to be in some type of social network for this company. The single dad, he has to go home, help out his family with their restaurant. He's got a daughter to take care of. He is single dad status, so it's not even like he's going after work to have fun. He's literally going to a second job, like his second very full status work. So I just felt like, just leave these poor people alone. Mi-jung, of course, has this maybe 1 to 2 hour commute home to Sangpa, or some really countryside city. So, she doesn't want to really go and stay an extra hour, 2 hours, 3 hours doing social activities with coworkers that aren't even that friendly to her. They're kind of mean. They're very judgmental. So why would she want to stay, spend extra money to go to dinner and drinks with them, then have to either take a taxi home, and it's not a good idea to take a train or subway ride much later in the night. Like, that's just dangerous. That doesn't even make sense. And even when she would go home at decent hours, there would just be strange characters on her walk home where Mr. Gu would help her out and like walk behind her with clinking his bottles of soju behind her. So Mr. Gu still had her back. And you could just tell she was drained as a person. Like this lady, she had um I think she had a decent home life. Honestly, her parents were really just solid, good citizens. Like they just, the dad was, of course, the stoic, silent Asian father. The mom was like this super busy woman, cooking, cleaning, keeping house, keeping her kids in check. But I think the reason why maybe she's so down is that, she's from the countryside, and from all the K dramas that I've seen, and just even hearing stories from my family, it's difficult to get ahead in life if you don't have the pedigree of the resume or family backing, family money, or just, I don't know, maybe even winning the lottery. So just getting over those hurdles are huge. And so she just has this dreariness about her, which I think is just such good kudos to Ji-won as an actress, because she portrays this so well. Normally she plays more like fun, cute, rom-com leading ladies, and this one where she's a lot more subdued, this was so big for me. Like I was just like, wow, she's so amazing as an actress. Because I felt for her. I believed that every day she trudges into work, she put in her best work, and then she's got her supervisor who's kind of a jerk and is just very p- picky, petty, and just very unlikable as a person. And not only that, but even her coworkers and peers, they all are like grumbling under their breath that they just don't like this supervisor. Like he is an obnoxious bully. And yeah, so like it's pretty apparent in this K drama that she is going to work not because it's her passion. There is no passion. She's going there because she's a good citizen and she is a good worker. She has good work ethics, but her work life is pretty miserable. It's so unpleasant. And but again, really big props to Ji-won as an actress, because she makes it so believable. And I'm just like, I love I loved all of the characters. And so now you see them as a group trying to figure out, okay, they keep getting called into the office, the three outsiders, the three loners, the three outcasts, the manager, Mi Jung, and the tall single dad. They're all kind of the outcasts, and they have to figure out, okay, they're going to get called into the office, in the HR lady's office, every single, I don't know, Friday, to figure out, are you going to join a social activity, a social cause? You pretty much, it almost seems like you have to be a part of this organization. It's like one of those, check boxes that you have to do to be a part of this organization. And I feel like, well, I don't know, that doesn't seem friendly, but then it's like forced fun. And I know that Korean dramas portray that company work ethics, like the salary man and the forced fun and all of that. You do have to go to heshik, like that's that after work hours meeting where you go to dinner. After dinner you go to like a norebang or like a bar to have drinks, and it's almost like mandatory, which is kind of like, I think, a US company nightmare. But in Korea there's different standards, and so like it is what it is. Like I guess if you don't like it, you could find different work. I certainly, there is never anything that's really tying a person to have to do something. I don't know. I mean, certainly like having to feed your family, rent, eat, take care of your responsibilities. That's almost like you have to work. Like, unless you have some kind of family money, or you won the lottery, or you've got some other form of passive income, everybody pretty much has to work. They have to do something. And I would honestly, living in Los Angeles where everybody talks about their passion and why aren't you working in your passion? It's like, I guess that's where the term starving artist comes into play. Like, yeah, there's a lot of starving artists where, maybe they make it big. Like, you've got the big players, I don't even know, like Brad Pitt, Julia Roberts back in the 80s and 90s. Tom Cruise just made a big one. But otherwise, following your passion doesn't always pay off. And I had a lot of friends who followed their passion, and some of them just had to get regular jobs. But Mi Jung finally gets Mr. Gu, and they are now talking, conversing. There is a little spark between them. I gotta say, Son Sok-gu, his character, Mr. Gu, and Mi Jung, which is Ji-won's character, they have a lot of chemistry, which is hard to do when the storyline is not really portraying or going in that direction. They, as actors, beat all odds by going into this romantic kind of relationship, very kind of like platonic, not very rated G. This is a very rated G romance. And for them to get there, especially with the storyline being what it was, Mr. Gu, the character, spoke no words for all first 3 episodes, and him being a character who has a heavy drinking throughout the first many episodes, and actually it kind of continues on for the rest of the episodes, but there is a spark of romance, and maybe Mr. Gu is really leaning towards, you know what, Mi Jung's character, or the character Mi Jung, there is something about her that is very intriguing to him, which I think is very sweet, especially like she's wearing her t-shirts, they're in hot, sweaty country farming work. She is dragging herself back from the train station after work. Like, he doesn't see her in any kind of glamorous attire. There is no Cinderella makeover in this K-drama, which a lot of K-dramas do. So that's big. And then Lee Min-gi's character, he is such a good actor. I really thought that he shined in this K-drama because he went from socially awkward to having a bromance with Mr. Gu's character, or Sun Sok-gu's character, the silent guy. And he also has great work ethics. If anything, this family, strong work ethics. They go to work, rain, sleet, snow, drought, sun, like they go to work, they stick it out, they do their best even under uncomfortable or just not great circumstances. They pretty much have no nepotism. There is no nepotism in this K-drama for any of these siblings. Everything they do, it's because of hard work. They've done it themselves. So Lee Min-gi, just his character is so cute in this K-drama. Like, he's goofy, he's tall, he's lanky. Like, he is very thin. This man is very tall, very thin. I actually met him in person at a nightclub in 2008. This man, very tall, very thin, and actually kind of goofy. He was, as a person, he was very cute, charming, very fun. And then I think his manager kept like taking him back to his like room, but he would like escape and come outside. But anyways, Lee Min-gi's character Chang-hee, he works so hard, and then through nepotism, his coworker has this extra like income and gets to go and kind of have this privilege of, you know, stepping on her coworkers and annoying her coworkers, expecting them to stand in line for her, expecting just, you know, just, she's just annoying. Like, that actress was great because her character completely annoyed me as just a person watching this drama. So props to the actress to really get that just annoying presence into there. And then we also see Gi-jung, and Gi-jung is the oldest sister. She says whatever she wants. Like, actually, Chang-hee, which is Lee Min-gi's character, and Gi-jung, the older sister, they really just speak their mind. There's no holds barred. They just say whatever they want. Whereas Mi-jung, every word, I think she thinks over, she ruminates, she really labors over every word. But her brother and sister, they just say whatever they want at the drop of the hat. So I just thought that that was really interesting. And her love interest, which is the single dad that keeps going to the socially awkward team meetings at the workplace that Mi-jung works at, they're having a little bit of romance. But of course, their romance also has many, many different obstacles. One, the single dad's sister and his daughter, they both don't like Yi-jung because of what she said about single dads, like how it's just so unattractive and how she could never date someone who is a single father, which she eats her words later because she falls in love with the single dad. And so, yeah, I thought that that was kind of a funny comeuppance on her part. But she is just such a character, anyways, because she's very outspoken. And throughout most of this K drama, her hair is kind of like her thing. Like she likens or actually, she pretty much says that if she doesn't get into a great relationship, she is going to shave herself bald and just have no hair as kind of like a Buddhist monk. Like a lot of some K dramas show, like, you know, a person who wants to repent or change their lives, they go to a Buddhist temple, they shave their heads, and then just kind of live out their lives in sacrifice. So I don't know if that was what Ki-jung had in mind, but she was very much over dating. Actually, I think all the siblings were over dating because Mi-jung's character, she got swindled over tens of thousands of dollars by lending her ex-boyfriend money. The ex-boyfriend then stopped paying the interest and loans and ran off with his former ex-girlfriend. Terrible. But Gi-jung falls in love with the single dad. And this guy, he's been in many K-dramas. The one that I thought was very cute was Flower Boy Ramen Shop, where he was like a narcoleptic, extremely tall guy who did not get the girl. And Flower Boy Ramen Shop was with Yoon Shi-yoon and the lead actress, I don't remember her name, but the lead actress from Flower Boy Ramen Shop, she actually started dating the single dad in real life. I don't know if they're still dating because this drama was almost 10 years ago, I think, at this point, very long time ago. And so whereas they, they were dating and she was really good, that actress. I liked her in Wolf Boy or something, Dating a Wolf with, oh gosh, one of my favorite actors. It was this movie, Temptation of Wolves. Temptation of Wolves with this guy's girlfriend or then girlfriend was so good. And this one really A-list actor, he was in that drama and he is coming out with a new drama for Netflix. Totally forget his name, but his face is in my mind. Well, anyways, in Temptation of Wolves, the guy that was the A-list actor, he donated his eyes to, I think, someone. And so, because he was also not going to live much longer. So he donated his eyes and he just kind of like disappeared from the leading lady's life. And then she went on to date the other guy. And oh my gosh, that guy in Temptation of Wolves, he sang this one Korean song so well. And I don't even think he's a Korean singer. I think he just sings so well with so much emotion. And I loved the sound of his voice. Anyways, he was in that movie. So Mr. Gu, I think he was able to develop his character throughout this drama, mostly being the strong, silent type. But even though he didn't really say much in the first few episodes of this drama, and even later on, as after we get to know him a little bit and him dating Mi-jung, he really doesn't say that much. He was just such a good worker to Mi-jung's father, doing all sorts of different odd jobs, like working as a cabinet maker, farming, other stuff. And he was actually very respectful in asking Mi-jung's father for Mi-jung's phone number. Like he could have gotten Mi-jung's phone number from her directly, but I think out of respect to the father, his boss, he asked him if he could have his daughter Mi-jung's phone number, which I think is very considerate because that's letting the father know that he had intentions of dating the daughter. And they actually had a very wholesome relationship considering that Mi-jung would go and deliver him food at his house. He was a single bachelor living in this home by himself. So the family really just like and then they're older, they're in their 30s, they're not teenagers, but for her to visit a single bachelor's home like at night and just like have drinks with him, that says a lot about the family kind of giving respect to Mr. Gu and vice versa. And I also think him asking the father for the phone number and alerting him that he has intentions of pursuing the daughter, that was very good. That was very key. I think that says a lot for his morals and ethics. And then that kind of segues later on when you find out more about Mr. Gu's life and his livelihood and how he made money. So, he's living in the countryside. He paid his rent for the full year up front. Like, you don't even know where he got that money from. And so then day after day, he goes to work for Mi-jung's father. And then Chang-hee, or Lee Min-gi's character, has a full-on crush, bromance, just wanting to be best friends with Mr. Gu so bad. Because, I think he sees Mr. Gu kind of as a younger, cooler version of his father because they're both silent, they're both doing the same work, and they're both quiet. And whereas Chang-hee, Lee Min-gi's character, didn't really have the best relationship with the father because I think once he bought a car, totaled it, couldn't pay off the bills, and the father had to dig him out of the hole. And then he also wanted to do a business. I think that also crashed and burned. So the father just doesn't want to do that much more investment in the son, or Chang-hee, Lee Min-gi's businesses, just because he's like, you don't seem to be very good at that type of business acumen. Maybe don't. So I think that's why Chang-hee really just looks up to Mr. Gu and was at one point I think he just had to go to the bathroom, and there's not too many boundaries with Chang-hee. He just kind of wanders into Mr. Gu's house, uses his bathroom, drinks water, kind of uses different things for himself. But yeah, I don't think that's proper. Neighbors should not do that. But he did because, it's the countryside, and maybe back where he lives in this story, what's his is yours and what's theirs is his. So he would just wander around in Mr. Gu's house. Then he finds this emerald city of empty soju bottles, and his eyes light up. He was there was definitely some kind of man crush and just funny interactions with Mr. Gu and Chang-hee, because then Chang-hee goes and cleans up tries with his best buddy, who is also just a cute, fun, kind of roly-poly best friend. And so they clean up, but Mr. Gu was so upset. He wanted them out of the house. Mr. Gu has no interactions with anyone else besides the family that he works for. And even with that, it's very limited. So I don't think he really wants people just rummaging, even though they're cleaning. He doesn't want people rummaging through his stuff. He's a very private man. So it was just kind of weird that he has this little person wanting to be cleaning in his place. So he's get out. And then him and the little roly-poly guy, they run out of there scared. And I think in the countryside in Korea, and correct me if there's other viewpoints, but I think that there's a lot more familiarity and like kind of familial relations in terms of like looking out for each other, helping each other, being in everybody's business. That somebody from the city, especially with Mr. Gu's background, they don't want that. So I find it to be pretty interesting that he really is out of his element, Mr. Gu. And so, yeah, I just found that to be a very fun, cute interaction, even though Mr. Gu didn't like it at all. He did not want their assistance in helping clean up his Emerald City of soju bottles. I mean, it was an intense amount. And just health-wise health in itself, I don't know if they actually they didn't really emphasize how detrimental that amount of drinking can be to a person's body. Soju, from what I understand, is a very inexpensive, low quality alcohol. And I think any alcohol can be very damaging to the body, like the liver and stuff. But that low quality, it can be, I don't know, maybe more harmful. I'm sure other people have other information about it, but yeah, let me know if you know anything about soju. I know, like, even red wine with all the antioxidants and all the, like, things that people say about red wine having resveratrol, it's still not great for you. But this isn't a lecture. So yeah, I think that we see some cute interactions with Mr. Gu, and Mi-jung's character. I just think that they just had so much chemistry and they just really enjoyed each other, which I liked so much about this K-drama. Like, My Liberation Notes was on at the same time as Our Blues, and they were just such good K-dramas. They were both really good K-dramas, very well written, extremely well acted. And, I've watched over the years so many K-dramas. I mean, when you look at way more than what I've got listed in my YouTube videos. Like, there's more. I've watched a lot more, but I just haven't had time or interest in doing reviews on all of them. And I've also started and did not finish many, many K-dramas because they didn't hold my interest. But My Liberation Notes and Our Blues, they just had me laughing, a full gamut of emotions. Like, I was crying profusely in My Liberation Notes. I mean, I'll say it in subsequent episodes when I'm reviewing those, but oh my gosh, I cried so much in My Liberation Notes. I cried so much watching Our Blues. And so just these two K-dramas alone makes the subscription for Netflix worth it. And I don't have the expensive one. Like, Netflix recently upped their prices, and I think that maybe that's why, as a revolt against the man, people, or actually the stock dropped significantly. Like, that was like the beginning of like this drama on the Dow Jones and Standard Poor's, like S&P 500. Like, it's been like rocky. But yeah, Netflix took a really big hit. And so I think maybe it's because they just are asking subscribers to pay more. And, my thoughts on that, we have struggled through the last couple of years with what's going on globally, and just now with all that's happening in the stock market, and it's going to then impact the job market. Ugh. Anyways, back to this drama. So now we see Mr. Gu like actually talking and having other emotions besides being stoic and quiet and silent. So I just find that Mr. Gu, or Sun Suk-gu's character, just really blossom, like really start to shine. And yeah, I wonder where the dog just went. I hope he comes back down soon. So yeah, Mr. Gu had such a great, I think, episode 5 and 6, because now the romance is really happening with Mi Jung. Like they're having drinks, they're having anju, which is like little snacks with drinks, and they're actually in his home, which is kind of a big deal, especially in Korean dramas. I don't know if it's a big deal in Korean culture, Korean society, because it's been many years since I've been there. And even when I go, I just visit for a short amount of time. I'm not there for lengthy periods. So, yeah, I just find that it's very cute, their interactions, very wholesome, very sweet. Like he meets her at the train station to walk home together. They text each other, asking each other what they want to eat. I mean, it's very sweet. This is like, especially coming from the world that Mr. Gu came from. Like, we don't, like, you know that he's a man of mystery. Like, you know that there's something about him. Like, he's got an unexpected, like, strength and kind of like, I don't know, bad boy quality to him. But the fact that he just has these very cute moments with Mijang, I find it very endearing, very sweet, and gives me hope for Mijang and her dating life, because she was saying the reason why she wanted to be worshipped by Mr. Gu is because she always dated jerks. She said it like differently, but I don't really want to say it on my webcast. But she says that they were jerks, but in a not as nice way. Jerk is a euphemism for what she said in Korean, and so. But little does she know that I think she can pick guys that have the potential to not treat her well. Because when you then see subsequent episodes of My Liberation Notes, you will see that Mr. Gu has some very dark past, like pretty dark. Like he's drinking for a reason. Well, I mean, I don't know if there's really a valid reason for drinking, but he is drinking, and that's not new to him. So I just find that of all the people she wanted to have her have the person worship, that she picks him. And for me, like coming from my faith, like having that, and it could be just like the translation being mixed, it just seems like a little bit strong of a word to have someone worship another person. Like for me, that just seems very sacrilegious almost, just the way that it was kind of stated. So that's where I find it to be a little bit different. And when she said that, that kind of came to me a little bit awkward. So I personally would not say that to a person, just because it's not comfortable for me. So, but yeah, love My Liberation Notes. And the other K-drama that I'm currently watching is also on Netflix. And it's Change of Days. So that one, it's interesting. I only got through part of episode 1, and I was kind of doing some other things while having it play in the background. But it is about several couples, I think 4 of them, and they are either going to give it a second chance with each other and continue dating each other, or they're going to then maybe date somebody different. I'm not sure. So I thought it would be more like Singles Infernal, where that reality show, it was crazy. It kind of I never watched Love Island, but it's kind of giving me those vibes, even though I didn't watch it. But Singles Inferno, Love Island, like people are stuck somewhere where they're just interacting with each other. Um, Luckily, it's not like Naked and Afraid. So, Naked and Afraid, I watched many different episodes like 5, 6, 7 years ago, and I thought Naked and Afraid was interesting, but it's Singles Inferno was not like that. Singles Inferno had food, you could get drinks, they didn't have to be naked, and it was like four girls, four guys, and they were kind of like duking it out for maybe it was five and five. Anyways, there was a whole bunch, and they were competing to then potentially go on dates if they matched, and then like the inferno part was being stuck on the island. It's hot. There's no real like um, good accommodations. And then heaven part is if you got to go on a date, you got to go to this really nice hotel with like as much food as you want, and it looks like it's very well prepared. There's a pool, there's hot tubs, there's, nice bed, I'm sure air conditioning, which people would appreciate if they're stuck on an island where it's hot. So yeah, I just think that Netflix, I think even though it is a small or it is an investment depending on disposable income and all that, but for me, I think it's very well worth the price, even though it increased. I actually chose the cheapest, least expensive option because I don't need like high definition, high pixel quality. So yeah, anyways, thanks for watching.